Hello, this is Dr. Vicky from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center. I'm here with Ona from Ona's Tarot. Hello, Ona.
Hello, hello. I want to say good morning, because I say that all the time, but it's the evening here and a beautiful one
Yes,
too.
it's the evening here. It's getting close to sunset, which is kind of weird, but this is the fall up here in the northern hemisphere. Let me just do a shout out to my morning folk. Um, I'm okay. Ona was ready to call the police, but I'm okay. I did the video and forgot to press unlisted or listed or on air. So you can check that out. But today's actually I think it's a pretty chill day. It definitely has that energy for me, but I think it's a little bit of the calm before the storm and kind of the calm in many a storm, unless of course you live in one of those parts of the world where there's no calm at all. And I think we need to keep those people in our hearts and our minds.
Yeah.
And you know, just like we did with the Ukrainian when the Ukraine was attacked, that same energy of holding the space for everyone concerned, on both sides of the conflict, because for the most part, the people who really have nothing to do with it are the people who suffer the most.
Right,
So,
right.
all right. So let's talk about this new moon. This is welcome to Moon Shadows, everybody. We're talking about the new moon in Libra. And of course, it's a special new moon because we have an eclipse.
Yeah.
We have an eclipse. And we're going to look at the chart. We'll look at the path of the eclipse because it does go over America and South America, and I believe Central America as well. We'll call it the Americas, even though everybody else living in the Americas would probably have never called it the Americas. But that's another story for another day. I do feel like, it's funny because I do feel like there's crisis around indigenous populations and the people who were originally in a place being a lot of that stuff is coming up.
Yeah.
A lot of the our past injustices, perhaps, are rearing their head at this time. I
Yeah.
feel.
That's definitely the flavor of this this moon. It's very related to past lives to me.
Yeah, past lives, past relationships. In some
Past,
cases, it
even
doesn't go that far
timeline.
back, but
Yeah, timelines in the same life
yeah.
are repeating and readjusting and getting recalibrating new relationships and stuff. It's interesting what's going on with this new moon.
Yeah, and the state of the world is really a state in which people people are finding all the reasons to dislike somebody else instead of, or so it seems, because I mean that's all that we always have to take into consideration what we're being shown as opposed to what's, there's other things happening, as we see these terrible things happening throughout the world. There's also wonderful things happening. There's a balance, and that's what Libra's all about. It's about the balancing of the scales. So it's not all bad news. It's just that the bad news usually gets front page, and the good news we have to sort of just give thanks for when
Yeah,
we find out about it or when it involves us.
that's how this society thrives on chaos. It has to be one chaotic thing happening after another and after another, and we don't get the flavor of the good things coming in and all the aid that's going out there. I mean, there's only so much some people can do, and believe me, it's getting done.
Yes.
There's
Yeah.
good services being provided. We have a lot of immigrants coming in. I mean, a lot.
Here too, in Massachusetts. Yeah.
Yeah. And they are getting help. 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 They are getting
You're
help.
here too.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. You have to. You can't deny anybody any services, you know. And our own people are getting help too. They have access to a lot more.
Yeah. So this eclipse is a south node eclipse, meaning that the sun and the moon are at the south node of the moon. South node of the moon being in Libra, the planet of relationship, right? It's the sign of relationship, not the planet. I know what I'm talking about. The sign associated with relationship, and of course we still have Pluto squaring the nodes and squaring this new moon, and so that puts a lot of stress and pressure on our need to evolve, right?
Yeah.
Renegotiating contracts, renegotiating our relationship with power. Do you feel empowered? Do you feel powerless? What do you feel that you have the power to do? Right? That's a question you have to ask yourself
Mhm.
in this time. So, how have you been experiencing the sort of upcoming energy to this moon? What have been your um,
Definitely feeling plunging into a little bit into the old neighborhood today. And I ran into a nurse that worked for me a few years ago before I got sick, actually. Definitely going, chuckling in my head, thinking this is about past timelines. This is about, we hear about like old relationships coming up, and this is the time to visit that in Libra season. That what they're like, you walk into people kind of thing is the signs I'm getting. And I think people need to feel balanced right now. They need to feel like they're balanced right now. And a lot of people aren't.
right? Well, it's these times of chaos and shifting is, I mean, that's the moment we're in,
Yeah.
and that's not really going to change. We just have to learn how to move through it with some grace, and
Yeah.
uh, there's a lot of change that still needs to happen, and it's going to happen um, one way or the other, and we might as well, I guess, try to find the center within ourselves. Like if we foster the peace within us, we radiate the peace outside of us, and that helps everybody find peace. So for some people, they have to not watch what's going on because it's. I have a friend who had a sudden emotional. There was a reason that she had this emotional outburst. Her partner, somebody that she was in relationships, said something that under normal circumstances, I think she would have been able to talk it through.
Mhm.
But instead, she burst into a rage and then couldn't stop crying over it. And it was right around the same time that the what was going on in Israel was happening,
Yeah.
although she didn't know about that. And so she felt it all. In fact, she said to her partner, "You don't understand. I feel the pain of all the women and the children
Hmm.
right at the time when the women and the children, and others, of course, not just women and children, but
Yeah.
so we're feeling it, whether we know it or not, whether we're aware of it or not, we're feeling it. So if there's anybody watching this who doesn't pay attention to the news or can't pay attention to the news for the reasons that I just spoke of, know you're going to feel it, and understand that we have to sort of find that space within ourselves to navigate this time as best we can. And sometimes it's, going for a walk, sometimes it's going to lunch with fellow colleagues, or,
Mhm.
hanging out in the old neighborhood, whatever it is that you need to do. Um, it's really important, I think, we take care of ourselves. And with Venus and Virgo as the ruler of the South Node, and the ruler of um, um, Libra. And when we look at the chart, we'll see that Venus is opposing Saturn. So there's,
It's very Saturnic. I don't want to say anything, but I've got a sulfur thing going on.
yeah, well, it is hell, right? So fire and brimstone, hell.
It's
I mean,
got
there are
that,
places,
that
hell
has that
on earth.
Saturn-y kind of taste to it. And I want to know how Saturn's involved because that has been happening. I did have a Caesar salad today, and I was driving home and I'm like, all I could taste is sulfur. So this is what I woke up tasting. And I don't do it that much because I really have, it bothers my stomach.
Yeah.
And then I had the Caesar salad and it got like, it got very sulfury. And I'm like, can it be, what, how is Saturn involved in this? I honestly haven't been able to circle back over to Saturn to see why it's you know,
Why it's filling your nostrils with sulfur?
oh yeah.
Well, I mean, Venus is exalted in Pisces, Saturn's in Pisces,
Okay.
and uh, Libra is exalted, Saturn is exalted in Libra. So there's a relationship of exaltation, although it's not really direct. I don't know if people would like actually connect that, but that's a possibility. And Saturn is opposing Venus. So let's take a look at the chart. You want to look at the
Saturn's
chart too?
opposing Venus. This is the thing. I was thinking, how can I make dal the lentils with the
Mm.
Spanish kidney beans, garlic, cinnamon,
Oh my God.
balance
All right.
right there. So engage in that.
All right.
I do that.
Oops, shoot. I'm doing the wrong thing here. I got all, you know, as soon as the technology comes out, I'm completely flummoxed.
Well, Pluto
Okay.
station direct, give yourself a chance to recalibrate, and then
All
things will.
right. So I'm recalibrated. So here's the chart. And so if we this is the Aries rising chart. I didn't put it for the United States. Um, but we have here the new moon, solar eclipse at 22 degrees of Libra. And the symbol is a child giving birds a drink at a fountain. The concern of simple souls for the welfare and happiness of less evolved beings who thirst for life's renewal. It's a beautiful symbol. It's a beautiful symbol. It says what you receive from the infinite, you can give to the finite beings that thirst for it. Man does not need to destroy nature's wilderness through greed and carelessness. He can transform this wilderness into the garden whose singing fountains will attract birds. What a symbol for the time we find ourselves in.
And
Right?
it's
And
migratory
then if
time.
we
It's bird migration time too. It's like very symbolic.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's pretty crazy.
And this eclipse is a south node eclipse. This eclipse is it's a south node eclipse, and the eclipse, according to Bernadette Brady, she um, she puts them in she has a certain system. Like if you go onto the NASA website, it's a Saros series. I don't know which Saros series it is, but according to Bernadette Brady, it's 7 south. Let me read this to you because it's really very interesting. And eclipses, eclipses last a long time. I think it takes thousands of years for an eclipse to start. And eclipses will either start at the South Pole or
Mhm.
the North Pole. And then they move up the globe or they'll move down the globe. So this one is moving up because it's 7 south, and it
Mhm.
started in 1248 and it ends in 2492. So it's, these
Life.
cycles are long, long, long cycles. So it says here, the immense power, anger, and force of Mars square Pluto. So in the original eclipse, there was a Mars square Pluto, which is interesting because Mars is square Pluto in this eclipse. See
And
that?
Mars just moved into Scorpio.
And Mars just moved into Scorpio, which is one of the signs that it
Okay.
rules. So it's very, very powerful.
Yes,
It's a
yeah.
last quarter crisis in consciousness eclipse. It's about taking responsibility for yourself. It's about, on a certain level, not trusting the powers that be to know what's best for you, and to become empowered through your own knowledge and your own ability. But you have to apply that power to for the benefit of all people. It can't just be for you. You see, in that square. So let me continue to see what she says here. It says the immense power, anger, and force of the Mars square Pluto is channeled into this family of eclipses via the trine. The individual experiences this series, experiencing this series will find that huge obstacles will suddenly and easily clear. So if you have some big obstacles,
Yeah.
or on the negative side, a pending potential crisis will suddenly manifest and move through a person's life very rapidly. Either way, the individual will feel that everything is moving at great speed.
Yeah.
And how many times in class have we talked about feeling like the world is just
Yep.
going by? It's like we're in the Starship Enterprise and we just went into warp speed.
Yep.
That's really what it feels like to me. And we have all we can do to hold on to the captain's seat and, do that thing that they used to do on Star Trek where everybody sort of went this way and went that way.
Girl, I'm not in the captain's chair. I work in the freaking kitchen on the
You're in your own
Starship
captain's chair.
Enterprise over here.
You're
I'm
in your
kitchen
own
help.
captain's chair. We're all in the captain's chair. And that's something we can't forget. We have choices. We always have choices, even though it doesn't seem like we do.
I would choose the kitchen.
That's because you're a kitchen witch, my dear.
I would. That's where I would go and hide.
That's where Michael hides. That's where Michael goes. Whenever Michael is stressed out, that's when he cooks spectacular. He just made corn ice cream made with corn flavored ice cream, caramel. He made a caramel sauce. He made peach cobbler. He made and it's not just sweet stuff. He made a whole bunch of other like delicious meals.
Yeah.
When he's stressed out, he goes into the kitchen and
Yeah.
and gets out his. So
Yeah,
I can understand that.
I would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we also have with this eclipse, we have a yod to the eclipse. And you can see that here, the green, right? We have Neptune and Uranus sextiling each other, making a yod to this eclipse. And the
Yeah.
yod is the finger of God. It's what God is pointing at. And then because it's connected to the node here, the north node and the Eris, which is conjunct the north node, which I don't have here, is creating this energy that's saying you need to figure out how to relate to each other, renegotiating your contracts before you can move forward, before you can be who you are, in a way.
Yeah. So I picture the Joan Moreau statue, the star, the sun, the moon, and one star. And I'm gonna get a picture of it. That would be a great place to be, I think. And it's her holding up the sun. The sun and the moon is carved into the skirt, and the statue's like pointing to the sky, like we're all inside of it. Looks just like the yod.
Oh my God.
It looks
Wow.
just like the yod. I'm gonna send it to you. It's on Washington Street here. Yeah,
Oh dear.
it's pretty cool.
So I'm gonna pull out of the chart if that's okay with you, so we can see each other. Um, so have you thought about your altar yet with this?
I did. I did, and I got smoky quartz.
Oh, that's a good one.
showed up twice. I said, you don't have to show up more than twice. I get you. I get it. I get it. And I'm thankful for that because I can't do burns like I did, or I can go to the lake and do something, but incense or oils and stuff like that, an air kind of feeling. Anything that you like, honestly, any incense that falls out of the cabinet first, I'll probably like just to, it's hard to generate circulation. I have no ceiling fans here.
Can you get a ceiling fan? Can you put one
Yeah,
up?
I can get one installed like in my bedroom or in the kitchen and stuff, but it's so windy. It doesn't even, I don't think I need it,
Yeah, yeah,
but I haven't been here through a winter, so we'll see.
right, right. I'm looking forward to your winter just to see what it looks like.
The fall is going to be really neat. I'm getting a picture a day of the trees out there and and I'll put them all together and you'll see them change. So that'll be cool.
I thought maybe I'd pull some cards on this.
Yes.
Do you have it? You want to pull some cards as well?
What deck are you using?
What do you think?
Do you
What
want
deck do you think I'm going to use?
Okay.
This is a guessing. Let's see if Ona guesses right.
Oh, are you doing a deck? You're doing a
Huh?
deck?
It's hot, yeah.
I'm gonna pull like from the Angel Goddess deck.
I like that. Yeah, right. Yes, I think that's a good balance.
The Star Seed, the Star Seed, the Star Seed Oracle. Oh my gosh, those are intense. But that is an intense kind of, everybody's feeling it. You don't know what to do. You want things to be fair. You know that if you ran things, they would be fair. We don't run things.
I'm just gonna, I think, pick three, unless more are needed. Oh,
It's actually like these smell good.
okay.
I like that. I'm going to divide it in three and I'll pick from the top from each one. It's like karma cards. This is an eclipse, right?
Yes.
The void.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
Like so good. Fall into my arms.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I like that. Surrender, holding the opposites, extremes of life. How Libra is that?
That's right. That's the one thing that people miss with Libra. It's often a sign of extremes
Yeah,
because it's a balancing. So if there's a balance of a negative extreme, you're going to have a balance of a positive extreme at the same
yeah,
time.
yeah,
That's what I mean, that we hear about a lot of stuff, but there's other stuff on the other side that's super positive, super negative. And we need to bring that together.
right,
And
right.
that's what's going to bring the balance and the homeostasis. We have to find our balance again
Yeah.
and in America as a country. Go ahead.
Breath of the cosmos, air sign. Breath of
Wow.
the cosmos. My will to thy will, micromanaging the universe. Well, that's Venus and Virgo. That's her gig.
Yeah, yeah.
That's her gig. But yeah, that's that's such a good point that we don't really realize that there's too much weight on one side until there's a counterbalance. And then we know what that feels like. We know what it feels like to be weighted in sorrow and what can I do? There's nothing I can do in this situation. There's not any more I can give. I don't have any more. I come home with all I need, and I give away as much as I can.
So the Thoth deck, we got the Prince of the
Swords.
Prince of Swords. So this is the King of Swords. This is the just, right. The King of Swords holds the sword of justice. He has all his, we could call the minions, working in concert to bring justice forward. So this is actually a really, I think, good energy for this time. And then we have love, which is in this, it's the
It's
Two of
got to be two.
Cups.
Yeah, it's two of cups. Like Libra rules the kidneys, you guys. How, I mean, seriously, how does those not look like your kidneys right there?
And then the Knight of Wands, which is taking spirit on the road, right?
I like that.
Yeah. So this is
This sounds
about,
really cool.
justice and love and adventure and, being inspired to bring forth your creative urge. I mean, it's fire. It's fire. I don't know if you got to see the 1010 portal reading.
I
Uh,
did.
uh,
Yes. I
I
told
was I
you.
was amazed at the cards that came up with that.
Intense. I know.
Intense, intense. So yeah, so I think that despite what we see in the outer world, there is a way for us to navigate this, but it really does have to come from inside out, it has to come from inside out. Because in these times when everything seems out of control, all you really have control of is how you respond to it. And
Exactly.
and these cards are saying respond with love.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus said, love thy neighbor as thyself, love thy enemy, right? So
This will be interesting. Interesting eclipse. I'm noting it. I'm working tomorrow and Friday, so we'll see how it impacts.
you're
I
not
love
working. Are you working Saturday too, or just
No, I'm off this weekend, so I'll be able to get up on the roof at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. Yeah, if it's raining, then I'll be inside the, glass, but I definitely want to see what's going on. And it's fun kind of tracking the new landscape of wildlife here. Different birds, and from where I can see them.
Yes, yeah. They're not just all pigeons and
Not
finches.
all of them. No, not all. The pigeons are smart, but see, I know the pigeon. I know the pigeon. And when I saw them inside the parking garage at work, I said, oh, it's going to get cold out very soon because they're looking for inside space.
Right.
They weren't there all summer. So I know when it's going to get cold by the pigeons. This other stuff that's going on is just freaky, freaky. There is a migration going on, and it's really all the Libra season themes are employed, right? There's a migration, and the birds are like flying to wherever they're supposed to be going to. But if people leave the lights on, they can fly into buildings. And there's been a surge of that, a record surge of birds flying into buildings.
I think that might have something to do with the, excuse me a second. What? I think it has to do with the magnetic. I think birds go by the, like,
Yeah,
I don't know if they see the magnetic stuff or they, but I think there's a shifting, like the magnetic field is shifting.
yeah.
Now, I don't know if that's true, but that's
And
something
you
that
know
just
what?
came.
It's a horrible thing, and it sounds like a bad story. But there's also a Chicago Bird Migration Wildlife Connection hotline, and these people are incredible. And they will come and get the bird if you collect it, and they're studying them and they're tagging them and they're CAT scanning them, and they're trying to figure out why this is happening. So the bad and the good, right? The bad and the good. Charlie, I know we're talking about birds flying into windows and you thought you had a
He's
window
like,
opportunity.
where's the bird?
Not here. Okay, I did have one fly into the window. I didn't see it. It just hit and I was like, oh my God, there was a bird. That was crazy. And I don't know what happened to it, honestly.
Well, you're so far up, you wouldn't know. You probably
Yeah.
wouldn't even be able to see it if it went all the way down.
Yeah.
What? Come on, we're busy. He doesn't seem to care.
Maybe he needs to have his dinners. Is it time for his dinner party?
Oh no, he has his breakfast in the morning and then he gets snacks all day. No,
Okay.
he's fine. He needs some mama time. See, this is what happens. Um, and
Yeah.
he's very insistent about his time with both me and my husband. I mean, it doesn't, he loves us both. It's not like he's a mama's boy. He's
Yeah.
a mama's boy when he's with mama, and he's a daddy's boy when
Yeah.
he's with daddy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so so of course, Libra is a sign connected to peace, actually war and peace. And with the nodes the way they are, and Eris on the North Node, there's going to be people, getting out into the street and saying, I have a right, just like anybody else does, to be who I am, you know. So, and
Yes.
Chiron is opposite the sun. So we're seeing the wounds. And
What? That is a great altar suggestion. Anything in a peace sign, any rocks, any stones you have, any, outside pebbles, anything you can arrange in a peace stone, in a
yes,
peace sign,
yes.
in a peace sign.
And
When,
the peace sign is actually the one that we know of with the circle and this, right? That's actually a rune, and it's algaes, and it's a protection rune. It's a protection rune. So it's and another crystal that I might suggest with this Libra is like a tiger eye,
yeah,
because it's a balancing stone.
yeah,
Anything with the what, I don't know what you call that, the striations. There's a
yeah,
word for that.
that
Uh,
is Asians. Yeah.
yeah, would be a
That's a
good
good Aries or Mars stone too.
tiger's eye.
Mhm. Since Mars has to throw its weight around in Scorpio now.
Well, yeah. There's two good things. There's good and there's bad to that. It depends, with Scorpio, it always has to do with what level are you working with, or what level are you working at. And Mars and Scorpio could be some of the stuff that went down during the Hamas attack. That could be Mars and Scorpio as well. But it's also one of the most powerful healing signs, Scorpio. It's really ultimate healing. It's regeneration and rebirth. And so, we need to be extra cautious when we're around, when we're out and about. Be circumspect, know your environment,
Yeah.
but know that you're also, um, you don't want to walk out in fear, because what you project is what comes at you.
Hmm.
And Libra is also a sign of projection. It's big projection. So we need to be very aware, that sometimes it has nothing to do with us. It's what the other person's projecting on us.
Yeah. Yeah.
So try not to take anything too personally at this time. Unless it's good stuff, and then you can accept that.
Yeah.
Like when you meet an old nursemaid and she tells you
Yeah.
what a great boss you were.
Yeah. And I tell her what a great nurse she was and a great nurse she is, and for hanging in there. And thank God you made it through and you're still there. Wow. Has it changed, honey, or what? Tell me how it's going.
Yeah.
It's been the pandemic changed everything,
Yeah.
whole thing.
Well, there was just a big nurses strike with that. What I can't remember the name of the company.
Kaiser Permanente,
Yeah, where was that? Where was that strike?
California.
I thought it was in California. Yeah,
They're big. Kaiser Permanente is huge.
yeah. And the nurses in the nurses in California, very powerful uh union,
Yes.
very powerful.
Yes. Yes. Very powerful. One of the first states to have a nursing union, very well paid,
Yeah.
very strict rules. Like they are good. Where are the other states that adopted nursing unions are a little more of an infancy and are in negotiations so frequently that it's the turnaround is just insane. And
I
the
I I I
union
do
just always different.
yeah, I do think that unions are going to be a bigger part of the future. I think it's in part it has to do with Pluto moving into Aquarius.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
good. It's good protection, I think, for the nursing. I think it's good protection for
it's
the
good
staff.
protection for everyone.
Yeah.
It's good protection. And was I talking to you about a workers' bill of rights? Was I talking to you about that?
Yes. Yes.
Right? I
Yeah.
mean, why not that, right? That
Yeah.
everybody has, the right to a living wage, no matter what you do, dignity, vacation, what is that? Not child care, yeah, that's great if they have it. The other thing, like if you get pregnant and family
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
stuff like
Like
that.
postpartum.
Yeah, I just had a baby, the husband gets it if there's a husband involved.
Yeah.
That's I mean, if we're the most if we're the richest country in the world, then how come we don't have all that stuff?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
we have to fight for it, I guess.
You do. You do. And this is the kind of industry that you can't wait for a crisis to happen,
Right.
for things to change. You
A
need to
crisis did happen.
it did.
A
And
crisis did happen. Now it's time to change things. Yep. Hey, I was in healthcare for 30 years. That's why I'm not in healthcare anymore because it's a very, very broken system. And it's not going to work well. It's like a not oiled machine
yeah.
with all kinds of dead ends and no's and people making decisions that shouldn't be making decisions for the care of the patient. The
Yep.
decisions need to be made by the doctors and the healthcare providers, you know, and
Yeah.
the nurses have to take care of the patients and not just, I mean, now if I go to, although I have a good primary now, but I had a couple of primaries in the interim, and they never even look at you. All they do is sit there on their computer and tap things in. I'm like, did you go to medical school to become a typist? I mean, are you going to touch me?
I have stories that would this honestly would just blow your mind, honestly. Sitting there reading results, eating an apple, and the results aren't good results. And not even looking at you. And you're sitting on the table, bouncing your little feet, going, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad. But there's good medicine out there. We do deliver good medicine. We do try to take care of people as best as to the best of our ability. We do take an oath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's been my experience with, health doctors, nurses,
Yeah.
chiropractors, everybody wants to do a good job for their patient. They wouldn't be in the business.
Yep.
It used to be you could make a lot of money being a doctor, but that's not the case anymore. You have to own like an MRI studio or something to make any kind of money. You have to be involved in that kind of stuff. So the people who are out there doing that stuff really do it you know, primi no nocere, first not to harm, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So we have to give the people who do that for a living a real, keep them in our prayers and our hearts as well, because you'll
absolutely.
always need them. Be nice to your nurses, be nice to your doctors, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I thought this was going to be a rocking, rolling moon shadows, but it doesn't, it's the energy is a little different. It feels, I feel anticipatory. I
Yeah,
feel like there's something we don't know yet that's going to be revealed. That's what it feels like to me.
yeah, yeah. I
And
told
whether
you,
it gets
feel like,
revealed in this eclipse or on when we do yours for the full
yeah.
moon in Taurus.
And if I knock my head on one more cabinet around here, I keep
Well, at
thinking,
least it's not in Aries. I mean, come on.
it's just unbelievable. The last full moon was very, very powerful.
Yes.
Very powerful. So we'll see how this next one comes up. But yeah, I feel like I said, it like get your big giant bowl of carbs ready because it is anticipatory feeling. Like, get ready because that'll, you'll feel good inside for whatever's coming next, because that's how we live.
It seems so. Well, folks, as always, thank you for your time and your attention. I hope you found this illuminating and a little bit fun. And until next new moon, next new moon here, but we'll see you for moon shadows right around that full moon lunar eclipse. So,
That'll be cool.
and Charlie says, bye. All right, everyone, take care. Much love. Namaste. Oops. Uh-oh. Hopefully we don't get a cat butt in this.
Well, did that. He ran right across the